Welcome back guys, this is Shrikant. Today we are going to talk about is null function. So this is one of the important function you might have seen a lot of time. When we do a real-time programming or real-time database program, we see this function. So I decided to talk something about this function. So today's topic is null function. This is the function which is basically provided by the SQL server. It is an inbuilt function provided by the Microsoft SQL Server. So I can say this can be a system defined function, right? It is a system defined function, obviously, as it is created by system, it is provided by system, and we haven't created any function. That's why we say it's a system defined function. There are two kind of function. We'll talk about that. One is system defined function, which is already been provided by the Microsoft. Another function is called as the user defined function, which we need to create based on our requirement. That is called as a user defined function. So in this video I'm going to talk about a system defined function, which is basically is null. So is null is a very important function when we deal with the null value. So what happen, when we write a big code or when we write a query, sometimes we have a null value in our table, right, in a column basically. So we get the value null and we pass that value to the application, and application get error. So that crashes our application actually. So in that case we need to handle null. So handling a null at the database level will always be good rather than handling the null at the application level, because if you handle the null at application level, you need to use a lot of different classes, system classes. You need to find out first the null value. So a lot of different thing and a lot of different problem we faces. So it's better to handle the null at the database side only. So to handle the null, we have a function. There are multiple function actually, but is null function is very useful and people uses it actually. Okay, so is null is function which basically handles null. So it has two parameter or two option, I can say. So the first value we need to give as a column name or the value is or the value, and if the specific value which you have provided is null, then it will take second value. So you need to pass a second value if it is null, if null, if first value null is null, right? So these are the basically the function syntax, and it needs two value. The first value or column or the value which you want to verify. Second is the value if first value is null, right? So for example, I'm going to define or I'm going to declare one variable. Let's say declare I as int. Okay, fine. And the initial value I'm giving it as null. I'm going to write select I. Now let's see what would be my result. When I execute this query, I see here null, right? So sometime if I'm giving this value to somewhere or some calculation, or for example if I'm writing is null plus 1, or some, for example, let's say I is an int variable and it has a first starting value is null, and I'm just trying to add 1 to that value. Let's see what happens. The output which I will get is a null. Why? Because the summation, addition, or anything whatever you will do with the null value will always give null. Null means nothing, right? So you need to handle null properly so that you won't see the issue with the null. So null is very important. As a database programmer, you need to always think about. So for that we have a function. Let's say if the first value is null, then please take the second value. So I'm passing as a 0. Now let's run the query and see the output. The moment I run the query and I see the output, I see output as a 1. So what does that mean actually? It means that when I pass first value or when I pass value to the null function, if that value is null, then it takes second value. So the first value which I am passing as a at the rate I, which is null, that's why it's moving to second value, and which is considering as 0. So is null of at the rate of is null of at the rate I comma 0 plus 1, which is giving me the result is equal to 1. Absolutely fine, right? So null function is very useful when we deal with the null value. When we write a very big business logic, there is no chance of doing a mistake. So your code should always be defensive, and you should have always consider all the corner cases. That's why Isnal is very important. Hope you guys enjoyed and understood the topic related with Isnal, and thanks for watching. If you like our video, please don't forget to share and subscribe with your community, and thanks for watching.